Welcome to Legally Ponzanelli, a podcast dedicated to the real stories behind the legal profession. I'm your host, Stephanie Ponzanelli, a law graduate from the University of Arkansas School of Law. Each week, we will hear from law graduates who share candid conversations, practical advice, and real experiences that show you just how different everyone's journey into the legal profession can be. Today's episode is sponsored by two companies. First, Kaplan Bar Prep. Thanks to them, we are able to do a free bar prep giveaway. If you are interested, make sure you're following us on our social media platforms, which you can find in the link below, but they are Legally Ponzanelli and Legally Ponzanelli Podcast on Instagram. We also have a discount code that stacks with whatever sale they currently have going on, which is, in all caps, Pass with Pons. If you're going to use Kaplan, make sure you save some money. Our second sponsor is Belmonte, a skincare and lifestyle brand built around the reminder to stay still, grounded, and present. They are also linked in the show notes in the link tree. Now, I am very excited for this guest. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Okay, my name is Star.
Can you tell me where you went to undergrad, where you went to law school, and what was your degree in undergrad too?
Yes, so I went to undergrad in at Buffalo, and my degree was I have a bachelor's in political science, and then I got a master's in political management and strategic communication. I went to law school at George Washington University Law School, and I graduated this December. I was an evening student, so I did the 4 years, but I was able to finish a little bit early, so I graduated in December.
So, did you immediately go to law school after your undergrad and your master's degree, or did you take a minute?
No, I lived like many lives between then. So, since I got my graduate degree and law school, I was working during that time, but I was also doing a lot of art stuff. Like I was really involved in like the art scene in DC and New York. So I was doing that for some time. And then when the pandemic happened, everything kind of shut down. So that was when I was like, all right, I've wanted to go to law school for a while. Let me sit down, let me study for the LSAT. And I did and got my applications in. Didn't even tell anybody I was doing it. And just applied.
You mentioned the art scene. Can you tell me a little bit about that? So you're an artist. What type of art do you do?
You know, it's hard to say I'm an artist. That's always like feels very weird to say that. But I used to write like plays and music and like musicals. Like I used to write musicals like for musical theater and like produce a lot of like artist showcase and stuff. Once upon a time, I always say once upon a time I was a kind of a big deal. Kinda. Not fully. But I did some really cool stuff like in DC and New York, and we had a show at 54 Below in New York and some cool venues there and some stuff in DC. And yeah, it was a feels like a lifetime ago, even though it wasn't that long ago, but it was a lot of fun.
Do you miss it? Do you still do it?
All the time. No, I don't do it at all, and I miss it like all the time.
And you went to, because from hearing you went to undergrad, your master's and stuff, it all kind of looks like you were leading to law school. Was that always the end goal? And that was kind of like you got to explore more of your artistic side and do like big things and then jump back? And do you think you're going to go back to doing more art, doing more musicals and plays and stuff like that?
You know, as you're telling me this, I'm like, I feel like this is like stirring up so much stuff. This feels like a therapy session now, but I like
no.
it. I like where we're going.
Okay, good.
You know, I think that the plan all along was law school. I got interested in law and that path when I was in high school, actually. I went to a high school that was a really underperforming high school, but there was like one program, and the program was called the Academy of Law and Public Policy. And that program allowed us to like get internships. Like I was 16 years old doing an internship at a law firm. Like I was we were like going to the courts and stuff. So we got really introduced to law early on, and I always wanted to do it. Like that was always the plan. But then I think just, life happens and stuff, and I don't know, I've also have loved the art stuff and I loved all of that. And then I was like, let me just like do this while I can do this. And I think I always like knew that at some point I would go to law school, but I also realized that my like fun artistic brain may not be here forever. And I wanted to kind of do that stuff at the time when I was really excited about it. And now I don't know what like creating art would look like for me now, because I think that law school has changed me in so many ways that I just don't even know what it would look like now.
Yeah.
And it's a little sad sometimes when I think about it, because I think that there was a time when I just would do anything. Like any idea I had, I was like, let's just do it. Let's put this up. Like I'm talking about like going to New York, and like there was a show we were doing at 54 Below, and my friend Harvey and I were literally we were like texting and emailing producers the whole, like anyone who we knew who might know a producer who could come to the show. Like we had like some degrees of separation from someone who, like, I think maybe like Patty LaPone or someone was in a show in New York at the time, and like someone knew someone knew someone who knew someone who knew her, and we were like, we need to get Patty LaPone. Like that is, to me today, that's insane. But we were like literally like texting and like, okay, this is gonna happen. And so, it was just, I felt like I just believed so much more in myself then. And my confidence was like, I can do anything, I can make anything happen. And I don't know that, I feel like law school, like, in some ways, it like strips some of that from you. So, like, I very almost like nervous about if I was to create something now and show people, I'm like, oh no, like, what if it's not good? What if, because law school, as you went to law school, it
Yeah.
really like strips some of that from you, and it makes you second guess yourself and doubt yourself and not believe in yourself the way that you once did. I don't know, it's kind of sad just
Hmm.
thinking about this right now. I haven't thought about this type of thing in a very, very long time, and I just do sometimes wonder, what would my art look like now? Would it be as bold as it was then? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
you might produce something soon and we'll get to like have to meet again and talk about it. And I bet it's going to be amazing because I feel like law school, when you go in, and tell me what you think in your experience too, but I think that you go in there and you're immediately competing against everyone else. So it's kind of hard to like, I didn't grow up comparing myself to other people because my mom was very much like, you're your own person. You Everyone has something to bring to the table. And then you go into this environment which is like you got to be better than everyone else or you're not going to score well, right? So I'm curious if that might be some of that, like being a little bit more nervous cuz you're in an environment that is so critical on everything that you turn in.
I mean, like day one. So the first day of law school for me, we come
Mhm.
to civil procedure class. By the
Mhm.
way, fantastic professor. Also, though, a professor who's very, very hard on us. He wants us to do well, and he cold calls. So the first we come to class, and he cold calls this guy who sits like right behind me, and I don't know the guy's name, but I'll remember the guy's name. So he cold calls the guy, and he asks him, a few questions about the case. And of course, it was like the Penoyer case or whatever, like the first case that you go into in Civ.
Yeah.
And he asks him about the case, and he asks the guy maybe two questions, and the guy gets answers them, and then he asks a third question, and the guy goes, I don't know. I don't think I really read that. And the professor goes, well, next time, make sure when you're doing the reading, you do the full reading. And everybody just kind of collectively internally gasped. And it was like, I think like
Mhm.
that was the moment that we were like, wow, this is actually real. And then you just
Mhm.
have like, it was almost like we clenched and we have not
Yeah.
unclenched since, because you're just so like, you don't want to be the person that is cold called and you're embarrassed in that way. This is the first day. And this, if
Yeah.
I was that guy, I wouldn't come back. I would say, I would have, no, call my mom. Mom, come and get me. Mama, come and get me. I'm not coming back. This is too much. I would have done. I would have probably fainted. I probably would have in the class. I probably would have fainted. And it would have been a whole thing. I would be known as the girl who fainted. Like, that is crazy. And this is day one. Like, we don't know anything. We're just children. We don't know anything. So I think
Yeah.
that it's stuff like that where you are constantly, you're put on the spot. You have to know it. You have to, and by the way, getting to know the professor later, it's not that deep. He just wants you to think through it. Like, even if you don't know the answer, he wants you to say something. Like, he don't want you to
Yeah.
say, I don't know. He wants you to say something. So like, I get it now, but at the time, it really does that to you. And I think that I just find myself like through classes and cold calls and grades and rankings and job search. Oh my gosh, the job search process. I feel like it was just breaking me down so much to the point where I was just like, am I even smart? I thought I was smart. I always thought I was smart. I got like was in undergrad in political science. Like, why am I not getting 4.0? Am I not smart? Like, why am I getting a B in this? What, huh? What? But it's like, it's just,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's a hard
Yeah.
process.
No, I agree. I think that's what makes it hard too because you go in there. Well, before I go to that, for our listeners, do you mind explaining what cold calling is? Just for anyone who doesn't know what that is.
Yes. So cold calling is, a process where the professor will assign a reading, maybe a case or whatever, for the class prior, and then you come to class the next day or the next week or whatever, and the professor will ask questions about the case, and the questions can range from what was the holding in the case. So that's what is the like what was the finding, what was the end result of the case, who were the parties in the case, what was the central issue in the case, what is the law, what was the rule, all those different things, to something that's a little bit more deeper. So the professor may ask, well, what if this had changed, what if this variable was different, how might that have impacted the case. And as the professor is cold calling, like, you are on the spot. So you could be in a huge lecture room and it's like, all right, Stephanie. And then you're like,
I
everybody
got
just kind of
scared.
looks at you. Everybody looks at you. Exactly. So that everybody looks at you. Stephanie, all right, tell me about the case. Like, it might really be like that. And then you got to be like, what?
Yeah.
And you, no matter how you do, you feel like an idiot. And by the way, here's the thing, nobody remembers a bad cold call. I remember that guy from the first class because it was the first class. And even then, I don't even remember who it was. I don't
Mhm.
remember who the guy was. But so, like, nobody even remembers a bad cold call. But you in that moment feel like, okay, well, I messed it up. Everybody's going to know I'm dumb. Everyone's going to know that I scammed my way to get in here. This is not, I'm not smart, and everyone's going to remember that I wasn't smart. I'll never get a job. Like, it puts so much pressure on you, and it is, yeah, it's really, I think I said once, a cold call is like if you've ever dated someone who gaslights you and who's like, you know what is the truth, but the person's like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? And you could be getting it right, and the professor's still going to keep going, 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 going.
Mhm.
So it's like being like with a partner who like gaslights you, and they're just,
Yeah.
keep going, 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 and you just have to like sit there and wait for it to be over. It is really very painful. But I will say this, later in my law school journey, I got it. I understood why they do it. It makes
Mhm.
sense now. But at the time, it was really like very painful.
I remember I think it was second semester. I looked to my at my friends. I don't and Star, tell me if you did this too, but we get assigned seats. So we showed up an hour and a half early because we really want to sit together. And we like put our bags down, we saved seats, we got everything. And I turn to my friends and I'm like, I better not get cold called. I didn't read. Day one, like whatever. The first person called. And I was like, you're
But
joking.
you spoke it into existence when you say, whenever you say that. By the way, any future law students listening, do not say that. If you say
Mm-mm.
that, you're getting cold call. Like, if you say, "Oh God, I hope it's not me today," it's you that day. So
Yeah.
just know that you spoke it into existence. That's crazy.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you'll have, so we heard a horror story about when like someone had Quimby up, because you have, so future law students get
Yes.
Quimby. It's very important. Sometimes your
Period.
school will pay for it, and
Ooh.
I think someone had Quimby up, and they had the sound. So like, you hear like a farmer, bought a plot of land. I mean,
I would look
oh my
around
God,
and be
I
like,
would
who
like,
did
again.
that?
Who was that? Hey guys, could you guys take it more seriously? That's so incredibly rude. Gosh, like, what's wrong with you guys? 100%. It's always like, it's just, I always say that, I say, I have never fainted in public. At law school was was the time in my life where I just know I was like, I'm going to faint. At some point, me and like my friend who used to sit behind me, we would always, it was in this class, the civil procedure class, we would always like message each other during class. We'd be like, if it's me and I don't know it, can you faint or create a diversion? Like, can you like
Good
can you fake a
idea.
medical emergency? Right then. Okay, she
Yeah.
fainted. No, cold call over. Done. I don't know the case, sir, professor. My friend just fainted. Like, can you please help her? Is there a doctor in the room? Is there a doctor? Like, that is the gosh. I always like, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna. It's so stressful. It is so. I don't think people realize this is an idea of 4 years, 4 years of being stressed out. Just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
I will say, guys, if you don't know what cold calling is, or if you haven't experienced it, I also want to let you know you never know who's getting called on. You find out
Mm-hmm.
in that moment when the professor says your name. So that's the other scary thing,
Yep.
because it's really just like playing Russian roulette that day.
Absolutely. Like that's the thing. It's like you have to read every day because if you don't
Yeah.
do it, that'll be your day. That will be your
Mm-hmm.
day. And it's like, and then sometimes the professor will go, Stephanie, and let's say it's two, three Stephanies in the class. Stephanie, and all of them go, which one? Which one? And unison, which Stephanie?
That one. That
Stephanie
one.
P. You're like, okay, okay. Like I'm telling you, it is real. And there are people who will be like, I'm really shy. I'm not even like a shy person. That's the thing. Like
Mhm.
classes where there was no cold calling, anyone who went to GW with me know that I talk a lot in class. Probably sometime I'm annoying, whatever. But I would talk a lot in class. And that's the classes where there's no cold calling. But the classes where there is cold calling, you are stressed out so freaking much. And it's
Mhm.
just like, and I was a working student. So my classes were like at night
Mhm.
for in the beginning, the first couple years or so. So I'd be at work, like in a meeting, and I'm thinking about, are they gonna cold call me about this case? And then I'm stressed at work, and then I'm stressed on the bus going to class, and then I'm stressed in class, and then I go home that night, and it's just, it is so much stress.
Yeah, you're like a ball of anxiety and
Just
stress the
thinking about
entire
it.
time.
Yes, yes. And then you do the bar, and then there's more stress. It's just, oh my gosh, why do we choose
No.
this?
There was one time in a class, like, where the professor said at the beginning, he's like, if I'm going to cold call this section every Thursday, I'm going to cold call this section every Tuesday. If you didn't read, write your name and leave it on my desk. I won't call on you. But I am going to be really mad if you don't write your name down and I call on you and you didn't do it. And so every time I didn't, I like, you know how you get that anxiety of like, well, I don't want to put my name in there too much. And he'd be like, you never read, you know? But so I would still
Yeah.
get anxious, but I was like, I'm comfortable enough. Well, one day I felt so bad. This girl got called on and she was like, I'm sorry, like I didn't do the reading. He's like, oh, did you put your name up here? Like I didn't see it. And she was like, no. And then visibly upset takes a huge sigh and is like, that's extremely disappointing. Silence. I felt
Oh my
secondhand
God.
embarrassment. I was like, I'm sorry, okay? I fucked up. It wasn't even me.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah.
Exactly. You just start crying for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. Professor, I'm done. I'm not, this isn't for me. And you storm out. Oh, that is
Yeah.
horrible.
I felt so bad. And she
Yeah, you
sat
don't
behind
want
me.
that.
So it was like extra, like, it's,
Oh my
it's really
gosh.
scary, actually.
That should be a thing. You should be able to volunteer as tribute for another student. Professor,
Yeah.
I can be honest, sometimes it is not even just the person who read, it's the person who has the most confidence. Because
Hmm.
sometimes you didn't read, but you have confidence and you understand that the topic or whatever enough
Hmm.
that maybe you didn't read, but you could probably answer the question. And we had students like that in class who just, I don't know, they just could do it and they just had
Yeah.
confidence. And
Let me go back because you did it part time. Can you tell me what
mhm.
that looked like your first year? When did you go? And then how many people of color did you have? So I know that my entering class was 124 people. 124 did not graduate. Some left, dropped, whatever. And then there was only 5 people that were Hispanic out of the 124 people. And I don't know the other minorities, but it wasn't very much. There was a handful. What was it like in your school? How many was in your entering class, and like, did you have more people of color, more minorities in your program?
So I just looked up the exact number because I want to make sure that I have it right. So
Yeah.
generally the first 1L class is about 500 to 600 students, 550
Whoa.
to 650 or so students. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
1L class. And the total enrollment is like 1,700 students. Our percentage of Black students is 6 to 8%.
Jeez. What about, does it give you the percentage of like Hispanic students on there? I'm just curious.
The amount of Hispanic students is 8%.
Yeah. So you look around and there's not many
Yeah.
people like you, which is
Yeah,
why I
and
started the
it's
podcast. Because you don't
mhm.
hear from people like us, you know? I don't feel like I know
Yeah.
everyone's journey. Less than 2% of all attorneys are Latina women. And I'm like, we got to get that
Mhm.
number up. I want to see more. I want to see more
Yeah.
women. I want to see more people of color. And I want to hear from more women and more people of color. Like, it could be men. You know, my man's Hispanic, he's an attorney. But I just want to create a platform where more people can like resonate with someone that looks like them or went through this and had some similar experiences, you know?
Yeah, and it it colors your experience in a lot of ways. And
Hmm.
that, by the way, that could be, there's other ways to be a diverse student. There are students with
Yeah.
disabilities. There are just so many different ways that you can be a diverse student, and so many things that you're fighting against during certain times in the school. I mean, I had our bar success person who's amazing, like the director or
Oh,
whatever. She said, like, when you take the bar exam, that it has to be something more than just, I want to take the bar so that I can pass and get a job. She's like, it has to be something more, and you have to figure out what that thing is. And it
hmm,
might be, I'm the only person of color. It might be, I'm a person who struggled with, a disability through school. It might be whatever it is. Like, you got to figure out what is your thing that you're
yeah.
doing this for, and not just so I can get a job and get a check. Because
Yeah.
it's so much work that you have to have something else. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
pushing you.
Yeah. No, because getting into law school, like I got my undergrad and I got my master's degree, didn't have any student debt. I only accrued student debt in law school. And I'm like, I cannot not make this worth my while as well, put myself in a position that is having to pay these loans forever. So I love it.
Exactly. It has to be for something.
Yeah. So
But you
and
know
it could
what?
be something as like that. It does, whatever it is.
But you want to know something? Something. Even just thinking about that, thinking, and this goes back to what we were talking about, just like
Yeah.
how it impacts your confidence. When I was applying to law schools, I
Hmm.
was like, so I was looking specifically for evening programs because I knew I was going to be working during school.
Yeah.
But I was like applying. I just had so much confidence of like, of course everyone's going to want me. I'm the best. I just had that confidence
Hmm.
coming into it. The highest ranked school that I
Uh-huh.
got like into or whatever, or waitlisted, I was waitlisted at Columbia, which is wild because I did not have Columbia numbers. But I didn't even care. I was like, oh, of course Columbia's going to want
Yeah.
me. I just was
Yeah.
applying with like a certain confidence that I had in myself. And by the way, I took myself off the Columbia wait list because they were taking too long. And I was like,
Hmm.
I didn't apply to a lot of non-evenings programs, but like I was like, let me just, shoot my shot, see what happens.
Yeah.
And they were taking too long, and I was like, if I was going to move to New York and quit my job and do, I would need to know, and like they weren't telling me, so I was like,
Yeah.
let me just take myself off of this wait list. But it was like, you know what I mean? I just don't even know if I would have the confidence to do that now,
Yeah.
to shoot my shot in that way now. Because I feel like
Yeah.
my confidence is so depleted from
No.
school that like at the time I was like, who wouldn't want
Yeah.
me? Here's my personal statement. Here's my letters of recommendation. When do I start? Like, you know what I mean? It was just really
I'll have
just a
my people call
confidence
your
I like
people.
don't. I have my people call you waitlist. You're crazy. I don't do wait lists. How dare you? I don't do wait lists. Take me off of that. I'm embarrassed to even be on a wait. I don't wait. You wait for me. You know what I mean? Like I really just had the confidence coming in there. And then that first day I was like, oh, and then it just
They sucked it out
but
dry.
here's the thing though. I do think exactly like confidence done. They say you are not that girl. They say you think you're that girl, you're not. We're about to show you who you really are. We're stripping it all down. Almost like military, you go to the military
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
have to break you down and then build you back up. But let's hope that I can find that confidence,
I will
again.
say
Because
I lived in a
I
state
mean,
of
I walked
delusion.
just, yes,
No, I really did.
yes,
I still kind of do, but like I remember I picked somewhere to live and I picked there because the bus route there's free transportation. And so I was like, "Oh, I'll take the bus to school. It's free. I don't really like driving, won't have to deal with parking, whatever." And I was like, "I'm going to do a pre-run." And I'm so curious. Like is anyone going to be like, "What is she doing here?" And I'm going to have to be like, "Stop, guys. I'm literally going to law school." like I was crazy. The bus ride was terrible. It was
oh
hot. It
my
was not
gosh,
fun.
right. Right, and then you get there, you're like, yeah,
What
this
is
is it, this
this?
isn't. It is. It's like it literally is like the day before versus the day of. It's so different, and it just like you just came in there. Here's get you a little, let me go buy my book bag to put on my books for
Yeah.
my A's, to put on my A, and it's like, girl, you're not getting an A, so you need to be okay with that. You're not getting an A, probably. It's gonna be a very few people who are getting A's in this huge lecture class, this huge class. Like, there's very few A's that are gonna be given out, and it's probably not gonna be, you know. But it's like you have that, and it is. I feel like a level of delusion. Even going into law school, there's a level of delusion, and then you get there, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it just makes you so. I feel like I've never been an insecure person. Like people who know me
Yeah.
pre-law school are like we believe you can do anything, like people really
Yeah.
believe that. And like, so here's an example of that, and this is why, Stephanie, I think you are actually selling yourself short, because I think you're somebody who is like, or you're finding that more in yourself now post law school. Like when you were like, I'm going to do a podcast, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then the next moment I knew you were like, I'm scheduling. I'm like, oh wait, she's actually doing it. But the thing that's crazy about that is like that was me pre-law school. I would be like, I would just be like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. Okay, da, 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 and I'm going to do it. And now I'm like, oh, 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 wait, like we can do anything. Oh, I forgot. I forgot we actually can do anything. Like we can just do stuff. And in a way, this is like really inspiring because I'm like, this is like me pre-law school. It really is. I would be like, I want to do a podcast. Okay, let me do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do, like I
Yeah.
would just do anything, and like now
Yeah.
I'm like, even when we were talking about this, remember, in the beginning, and I was like, I don't know if I should do it. Like, am I gonna be embarrassing? Am I like I was so insecure. I don't think
No.
people realize like
Yeah.
how insecure I have become since starting law school. I've become so incredibly insecure in a way that's like I am working like on this. I'm working through it in therapy. I'm working through it in my life, and I'm just like I've become so insecure. And I was remember you're like, oh, like just take your time if you because so for the viewers or whatever or listeners, I initially said that I wanted to be a part of the podcast, and because you were like, who wants to be a part of the podcast, and I was like, I want to do it, and then you were like, okay, so which day are you free? And I was like, and I just had like a feeling of like
Make it a game on.
anxiety and insecurity of like, oh, am I gonna like sound stupid? Am I gonna look stupid? Am I gonna be embarrassing? And then I saw roses, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I cannot even believe that like me of all people. Like I am not an insecure person, but like I've become an insecure person so freaking much since starting this program, since starting law school. It becomes so insecure. So
You'll
you
bounce
are an
back.
inspiration in
I
that way.
feel it. And like you're so fun though.
Girl, I
Like
hope.
every time you hopped on, you would say the funniest stuff. I loved it.
So the funny thing about so anybody listening, I don't know if you explain this to your listeners of how we met. Do they know
No,
how we
will you tell
met?
them? Yeah, no.
Okay, so we met. Okay, let's do it here. We met through Stephanie had started like So when I started law school, I was like, just to give a little context. When I started law school, started the bar prep process because I studied for February bar because I was done in December. When I
Hmm.
started that process, I was like going through a really, really hard time. I had had a breakup. I had a death of the family. One of my best friends, her mom had passed. I literally the first week of bar prep, I kid you not, I was like, I had the first 2 weeks of bar prep. I had two funerals that first week. Those first 2 weeks,
Oh my
I
God.
was like planning helping my helping plan a funeral during like the first week of bar prep, which is like crazy. So I was just so like isolated. I was just not like in a great place. I was just like, so I was like not on Instagram. I went off all my social medias. I was like, I don't feel like talking to none of y'all. I just need to be kind of like with
Yeah.
myself. And I was like, but I did have like I think someone had sent me a TikTok. So I like, okay, let me just look at and TikTok, which we could talk about in a minute, is actually amazing. It's like the new thing. I'm gonna tell you, we talk about that in a minute, but so I was scrolling the TikTok or whatever when I would like be having breaks from studying, and I saw Stephanie. I saw like a live on TikTok, which was like the theme is like bar prep, just the screen, and I was like, wait, is somebody doing questions? And I click on it, and it was like, by the way, Stephanie, I was one of the OGs of the group. It was
Yes.
like me and like two other people,
You
and
and
she was just
Rose.
going through questions, like it was like me and Rose, like that's it. She was like, What do you all think is the answer?" And we're talking through answers. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so helpful. So we started like doing more questions and questions. And we would like just meet up like at night after studying on TikTok. And Stephanie would go live, she'd share her screen, and she'd be like, all right. And she would read through the questions, and then we would put our answers in there, what we think is the answer. And then we just, and the group like grew. I think it was like 60 or so people in it. It was just like,
Yeah.
it became like this like TikTok group. And I remember telling one of my very good friends, I was saying to him, I was like at the library, I think, and I was like, I gotta go home. I gotta get home. And he's like, why? I'm like, because my TikTok group is gonna meet. And he's just like, what are you talking about? He's like, what are you talking about? Have you lost your mind? I'm like, no, I'm in this TikTok group, and it's with people from all over the country. And we go to TikTok
Yeah.
and we all like go through questions. And he's just like looking at me like, you've lost your mind. Like, what's happening? And I'm like, no, it's so good. And it really has been so freaking helpful. It's been so incredibly helpful of
Yeah.
like going through and practicing those questions and
Hmm.
talking through the questions and just like it was like amazing. So much fun. And like I met like all
Yeah.
these people from like all over the country who was studying for the
Yeah.
bar, and it was just like great because like I was at a place where I was like really kind of building myself up from having like a kind of a difficult time at the start of it. And it was like really good to just be on there, like talking to these people. And like, I don't even know. I don't know if I was, I mean, I guess I was funny in it, but I would just be
Yeah.
like, I don't know anything I was even saying in the group, but I would just be like, I don't know. It was it was good though. It was great. It was drama in the group. There was a relationship
Yes.
start.
The
You need to get
tea.
the couple on here, by the way. You need the couple on. We had a relationship starting in it. We had drama. We had like it was a whole thing. Like this TikTok group was just crazy.
But it was all like in good, like everyone was getting along. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
and if
yeah,
someone mean came
yeah,
on, I was like, I got
yeah.
my TikTok team like, you're over, you're done with. Because
Yeah,
I
we would be
remember
like,
someone,
no, don't bring that in here.
no, yeah. I remember one time someone was like, the answer is this, just click it. And I was like, God, I'm anxious. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. And it was wrong. And I'm like, bro, get out. How are
Get
you going to yell
out.
at
You're
me and it be
done.
wrong?
Yeah, there was somebody, I remember there was someone who was saying, by the way, whoever this is, if you're listening, no shade, but
Yeah.
there was somebody who was like, why are you reading the call of the question first? That makes no sense. How is this helping you? And we were all like, so we're all like, it's the end of the day. First of all, everybody's stressed out. Like, don't come in here with drama.
Yeah.
We were like, it is helpful because, we're reading him. It is helpful. It is helpful. And he's like, it doesn't matter. The call, like, he's like fighting us on it. And it was just like everybody take a break, have a Snickers. We're all stressed
Yeah.
out. Have you eaten today? Have you had water? Like it's not that deep. We're not the enemy. Yeah, you would
No,
have
yeah.
people coming in there and just like ready to fight. They would be mad. They probably got a low score on their practice questions that day. They said, I'm here to fight. How dare you pick B when it's C? Like,
I was,
calm down.
and I'm like the worst person for that because I just think it's funny. So I'm just laughing and I'm like reading
Yeah.
the messages like, LOL, you know? People are like, bro. Or like,
I remember one time though, you were like, because you're always like so. The thing about it is the reason why I think the group like grew is because you were so like supportive and everything. But one time I think you were just not having it, and someone was saying something crazy, and you were like, "Look, I don't know the answer to that." Like you were just like really kind of like, I don't know what, I don't know why. It's just it is what it is. Like, and I'm like, dang, they even got Stephanie a little turned up. Okay, we got to just make sure we keep it positive. Yeah, it's wild. I was telling my friend, I was like, so wait, I'm just never gonna see these people again. And my friend was like, well, you guys could go and like visit each other and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I just like we might not ever see each other. Like we might not ever talk to each other again. But then like you kind of kept it going. Like you still will be
yeah,
like, all right, guys, I'm gonna jump on live, like whatever. And like you kind of kept it going. So like we still kind of communicate and everything.
yeah,
I mean, we're communicating right now. You know.
yeah. I'm trying to like keep it like at least a little bit kind of yap session. But I was kind of sad when I stopped. I was like, oh, like I kind of like doing that. I remember my man would come home and he just got off work, but he understood. He took the bar in July. So he was like, whatever you need to do, whatever. You do you. And he would get home and be like, okay, got to go to my live, and I never had like a time limit. So like sometimes it would be like I start my live at like 5 and I'm there until like 11. I'm like, la la
That's the
la, you know.
thing.
Yeah. But it was fun.
It was a specific thing that needed to happen. I remember somebody like asked me,
Yeah.
someone that I was like, you know, talking to or whatever, was like, "Hey, like, what are you doing after you study?" And I'm just like, "Are you crazy? I have to go to the TikTok group. I don't have time after I got the TikTok group. Like, I literally was just like, the TikTok group was everything. It was you need to start a cult
Yeah.
because you really had us. You had us like, no, the TikTok group is our priority. Like, how dare you? Well, maybe I could take you. Like, you want to have you having dinner? Maybe like, after you study, we can have dinner, and miss the TikTok group. Are you crazy?
I
It's
know.
crazy.
Sometimes I'd be like, guys,
But
I'm
I,
really hungry. I gotta eat.
yeah. But you wouldn't even like go. You would just be like, let me go get food. I'll be right back. And you bring food to the TikTok group. Be like, okay, guys, sorry, I have to eat this burger while we're doing the questions. But I will say this though. There were things that I remember from the TikTok group on test day.
Yeah.
Like as I
Yeah.
was going through the questions, there are things I remember, like, you know, Brandon or somebody said, and I'm like,
Hmm.
wait, I remember this. Like,
Hmm.
I think it was something early on where there was a question of like removal, like defendants can only remove. And I remember like getting it wrong in the beginning, and someone was
Hmm.
like, no, defendants can only remove. And I like wrote that down on a like a little
Yeah.
because I would be like on the group, and like if there was something I didn't know or something I get wrong, I would like write it
Yeah.
on a little card or whatever, and I like put had that card there. And I remember there was like I think a question or something like that on removal, and it was like, and it's just these certain things that like I remember from the group that just are in my head now, and I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
remember this, I remember this, I remember this. Like, it really was very helpful. I hope that you do it
Yeah.
for July takers. I mean, I know you aren't going to be like deep in studying, but like I think you
Yeah.
should. I think it would be good to like just do them every now and then for July takers. Like, hey guys, if you're taking
Yeah.
July, like, come on, we can go through some questions together. Let me tell you, I want to tell to you about the gospel of
Yeah.
Jonathan Grossman. I want to talk to you today about the gospel of Jonathan Grossman. If you are a listener and you're going to take the bar in July, you don't know you need this, but you do need this. You need to go to Adapter Bar, even if you don't get the whole service. You need to go and you need
Hmm.
to get the videos. Jonathan Grossman breaks the videos down to you. He talks to you very plainly, very matter of fact. He will be like, I don't know why that's the answer, but it is. Shut
Move
up and
on.
pick it. And I'm just like, it's so relatable. Move on. You know, don't worry about it. Stop. Stop asking so many questions. Don't be
Nobody
stupid. Just
cares.
answer. And I'm like, oh, yes, he's just like, nobody cares. It's like Ray Romano. Like Ray Romano. He gets Ray Romano just like telling you about the bar exam stuff, and he breaks it down so much. Like, let me tell you, I was doing I did so I went through and I did
Mhm.
the Themis property videos or whatever. I like
Yeah.
started doing the videos. This is no shade to the Themis property guy. I
I
actually
did
liked him
too.
a lot,
Yeah.
and he was really good in his subjects. But property was just not. It wasn't gelling. And the way he was talking about it, I felt like he was going too fast. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. So I just stopped
Mhm.
Themis for a minute, went to my Jonathan Grossman videos, and I watched all the
Mhm.
property videos, Grossman videos, all the way through. And then I went back and I did the Themis. And it made sense. Because Grossman was just like, I'm going to explain to you guys this. You know, he does the thing where he goes, this is a contract. This is a this. This is a deed.
Yeah.
This is a mortgage. These are two different things. Keep them
Yeah.
separate. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's a really, when they
Yeah.
say supplements, like this is the supplement to
Yeah.
get, in my opinion. No, there may be other things. This is no shade, no shade to you all. It may be great. I don't know. I didn't use them. I'm only saying
Yeah.
based on what I used that the adapter bar Jonathan Grossman videos were so
Yeah.
helpful as a supplement to what you're using for Themis or Barbary or whatever, because he really like breaks it down in a very matter
Yeah.
of fact way and helps you to just like kind of see through what is this whole thing all about. Because sometimes you just go into the questions and you're like, all right, we're going to go into whatever topic. And it's like, hold on a second. What is this
Yeah.
whole thing all about? And he kind of cuts through
And it's
all
just
that.
easier. Like I think I did a TikTok where I literally had him playing in the shower because I was like, this is just so good. Someone told me to
Yes,
get a
I remember
speaker.
that. I remember that. Yeah, I remember you had the one where you were. It was like in the shower. And he's just like, and he's like, I can't even remember any of the stuff on it now. But he would just like going through like a topic or whatever, and you were just like, I have this going in the shower. Like, people who have not taken the bar might listen to this and be like, huh? But
Hmm.
once you study for the bar, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get how insane
Yeah.
it makes you. Like, it turns you into like a complete
No, yeah.
lunatic in
I
a
was
lot of
like,
ways. Because it's your whole life for 3 months. Like,
yeah.
it is your life for three
No, I
months.
agree. That was my most unhinged moment was like, okay, I can shower. I have time to shower if I listen to this while I shower. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just, so did you do like posters? Because I know you used to
Yeah.
do the whiteboard. You had a which I think is really good. You used to do the whiteboard, but did you do like
I
posters
didn't.
around you?
I don't have a good reason. Did you do that?
Yeah. 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 Oh, my entire apartment was just like posters. Like, I had one like on my mirror, like a civil procedure one that had like the
Hmm.
motion, I mean, the time periods and all that stuff. On my mirror, I had them on my walls. It was like my apartment was bar exam, man. It was like that was the sacred place. And I like didn't have, so I always would be like, okay, I feel like a crazy person, but and I would also have like index cards. Okay, this is the worst one. I would have index cards of certain things, like certain like the motions or whatever. And I actually had like the water, like the big water that like you pull the thing out, and it's
Oh
like a
yeah,
big
yeah,
like I
yeah.
don't know 2 gallon, 3 gallon water or whatever. I had an index card on the water,
You have
on
to earn the water.
like literally just like Chris, like maybe something about like judicial worthy. Exactly. Like you have to. It was just really like it was my. I think if you do it, and
Yeah.
again, I have not got my scores
Yeah.
back, so we will see how it goes. But I will say this: it was
Yeah.
my life for 3 months. It
Yeah.
was the most important thing to me. I had a friend who on the Super Bowl, she texted me and she goes, are you watching Bad Bunny? And while she was texting me, I had my video open of something about evidence. I'm
Hmm.
writing like making a poster on the wall in the middle of it and I just text her, no, I'm studying. And she goes, you can't take 15 minutes to watch the Super Bowl. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And it's not that I couldn't take 15 minutes. It's just when you're in it, nothing else even matters. Like I don't even know what you're talking about. Who is that? What do you like? I was just doing my,
Hmm.
evidence, whatever, like little poster or whatever. And it's just
Yeah.
like you are so in it that anything else around you,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. It can't matter. And I don't know. And again, I don't know if that's a healthy way of even like thinking about it, but I I remember I had someone I was seeing. I had him at my house during the day, and he was working remote, and I was
Hmm.
I was studying on my computer, and he took a break
You
and he
know.
turned on the TV. And I yelled at him and said, "Absolutely not." Never saw him again after that. How dare you come in? It was like, but by the way, that's not like, I could take 5 minutes to like, but it was just like, this is
Yeah.
my sacred space. How dare you come in here and turn on the TV for 5 minutes? It was just really
Hmm.
just like, no, like, this is my little, I would say my little, oh, a beautiful mind apartment where it's just like
You're
writings
like
all over the
shaking,
wall.
twitching a little bit.
Oh, so
Yeah.
insane. Just, like,
No,
just
I think that people
insane.
don't understand it until they live it or they know someone who lives it. Like
Yeah,
my
until you do
my
it.
boyfriend, I got to give him all the
Absolutely.
props because he took the bar first. And then with me, I didn't worry about making food. I didn't worry about a lot of things because he was like, I know what this takes. It's awful. So if I don't pass, I have to wait X amount of time and I can't even practice law
Mm.
and it costs money. Like there's so much at stake as well, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that people don't understand. I really don't think that the people in my life fully understood it,
Yeah.
except for the ones who have taken it. The ones who've
Hmm.
taken it, they understood it. They were able to
Yeah.
show up for me in the
Yeah.
best way because they'd done it. One of my very someone a friend that became like almost
Hmm.
like a best friend during this process. I would call him and just be like crying on FaceTime and be like, "I'm just so stupid. I got like a 50% on my practice questions." And he'd be like, "That's okay. This is normal. Have you had a meal today?" "No." "Okay, you need to have a meal. You need to have some water." And I did that. And an hour later, I text him back, "I'm fine
It
now."
was literally not that serious.
Like, "I'm fine now." And it's like, you get it. But like anyone. Exactly. And like
Yeah.
this is people who took it. So I would say like to people who are about to take it, like find those
Yeah.
people who have taken it before. And that might need to be your village during that time because people who haven't taken it, they just don't get it and they think you're being like mean. Like I had a friend who was like, "Oh, I'm going to be going to a play that's near your house. Can I come by for 5 minutes and say hi?" And this was the like 2 weeks before, I think. And I was just like, "I know
Yeah.
this sounds crazy, but no." Cuz then I have to go and like put on some makeup and I have to like put on an outfit and go and say hi to you and then stop my this and then go back. And it was just, I was
Hmm.
so, when you're so in it, I
Yeah.
can't give you 5 minutes. And it sounds crazy, but it can, when you have those times when you're just like in it and you are so focused in it, you might
Yeah.
can't stop in that moment. And it doesn't mean I don't have 5 minutes to take a break ever. It just means when
Yeah.
you are asking me in this
Yeah.
moment, no, I can't. And I'll be okay. I'll be around after, but right now I cannot
Yeah.
do anything except
I love that you said that
prioritize
about
this.
like you were able to call
So,
your friend that went through it. I do want to give a shout out to my amazing friends. I don't know if you saw
mhm.
my video, but I actually like I was kind of spiraling. I was having a hard time with evidence, and I told my friend Z, and she took the time. She had me come over, made me breakfast, wrote through everything, explained everything, asked me your questions. What do you need? What are you not understanding? And she's like,
Oh,
let me know. And then I had my friend Abby who's like, what are you
oh,
struggling with? What can I help you with? And just like all the support and even the TikTok where you guys were like, there were
oh.
days where I'm like, guys, I don't know. There's not a lot going on in here. Okay. Like, I don't understand this. And it was just beautiful to see like a group of people who genuinely care help, and so and if you're hearing this
Mhm.
and you're like, I don't know how to support my friend, I'm not going to go through this process, just something as small as like sending them coffee money, ordering them some food, telling them they got this, it makes the
Yes.
biggest difference, even though we may not be
Yeah.
able to like tell you in that moment how much that helps. Just know that like it means so much. Like I had friends that would send me coffee money and I was just like, thank God,
Yeah.
like I needed that. I really needed that. So,
No, so it's so important. I think there needs to be a documentary, a book, a something, of album, I don't know, on how do you
yeah.
support your friend during that time because I think people who took it, they get it. People who who are not law school people who did not take it, sometimes they're just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to support this person. How do I show up for them? But I think the answer to that is
Yeah.
show up in some way. It is the most important thing this person
Mhm.
is doing in their life. Show up in some way, and it may be clumsy in the way you're showing up. But like, I had a friend who would send me one of my um, uh, friends from college. He would send me
Mm.
voice notes that would just be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." Da 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 da. I had a friend who she was great, and that I would text her and I would say, "It's 9:30. I'm still at the library." And she would call me and she would say, "Call the Uber, pack your things up, and I'm not getting off the phone until you're in the Uber because you need to go
Oh,
home right now and you've been there all day."
yeah.
And she's very tough on me in that way, but
Yeah.
it's so needed. Like, and just being there, like,
Yeah.
be there for your friend in some way, even if you're sending them just, "Hey, you got this, I'm so happy for you," whatever. Or like you said, send them a coffee, gift card. I don't want to say which place to send it
Yeah.
because I don't know who's canceled
They
these
just
days. I don't
Venmoed
want
me
to
coffee
get this
money. So
podcast
just
canceled.
do that.
So whatever coffee you
Let them pick.
that's easier. Just do that. I was about to say the name of one,
Yeah.
and I said, wait a minute, I think they're canceled. Let me not do that. But yes, send coffee money. Send, even if it's just sending,
Yeah.
love. And the person might not reply right away because they may be having
Yeah.
a mental breakdown. They may be crying. They may be doing whatever. You know, I think the best two ways to show up is one, understanding that this is the most
Yeah.
important thing they are doing right now, and it cost a lot of
Mhm.
money and it took a lot of time, and they may not be around
Yeah.
a lot, and you got to be okay with that. And the second way is find a way to let them know that you
Mhm.
care about them, you're supporting them, whatever you need to do. Like I said, my friend was sending me voice note. It was just so like lovely to just like hear that and you feeling down and to hear someone
Yeah.
saying like, "Hey, I believe in you. You got this. Like, I love you. I'm thinking of you." Like that is like so important because it can be a very isolating
Mhm.
experience when you're doing that, and you do need
Yeah.
community. You do need people. You do need that. And that's something from that I learned from
Yeah.
the TikTok group. It was like so important to have that because I was a December grad, so we didn't have a lot of February bar
Mhm.
takers, at least that I knew of. Like, I didn't know. I knew like of maybe a few people that were taking February. So it wasn't like I could be like, "Oh, like
Mhm.
everybody let's get together and be in a big group chat."
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So it was always like my TikTok group, my TikTok friends was like that was like my big community of people who like were going through the same exact thing that I was going through at that time. So yeah, it is a lot. I would just say
Yeah.
like be there, find ways to support your people, understand that they are busy, they have a lot going on, they don't believe in themselves. Do what you can
Yeah.
do to just be like,
Words of
"You got
encouragement
this,
go a
like
long
you're gonna
way.
do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you."
Yeah.
Words of encouragement. Absolutely. It means so much to just have that and to know that like you have like a village behind you. And during this time, you may discover that your
Yeah.
village looks differently than it once did. And that may happen. But like you need to find, I would say like for people who are taking it, like find those people who have
Mhm.
taken the exam, lean on them, and then find ways to lean on the other
Yeah.
people in your life, who can motivate you
And
and
if you're
make you realize
struggling to
that
like
like you
put
can do
into
this.
words like I'm not trying to ignore you, I just am like I'm going through something so heavy.
Hmm.
You can send them this podcast just so they can get an idea from people who've gone through it and let them know like, "Hey, like I don't hate
Yes.
you. I love you. I'm not able to give my full self right now." And that's all that is. Don't read into it, you know?
Yeah, I think that it is, it's just something that nobody really
Yeah.
understands unless they do it. And it's something that even law students don't understand until they do it. And then they're just like, "Oh, so this was it, Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot." And it's not just about, because one thing that happens is people say in the beginning, especially people would say, "Oh, you're so smart, you're going to pass." And I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody who's sitting for the bar is smart. You didn't
Yeah.
graduate from law school if you're not smart.
Yeah.
It's not about
Yeah.
smart. That's not what it is. It's about putting that time in and figuring out
Yeah.
how to pass the test. This is not a test of smarts. It's not a test of smarts at all. It's about, can you
Yeah.
figure out how to pass this test? That's literally what it is. And it takes
Yeah.
months to figure that out. It literally takes the time that you start in December until that February test take. It takes months to figure out
Hmm.
how to conquer this test. And then sometimes people still
Yeah.
don't figure it out and they have to take it again. So it's like it's not about smarts. It's just about putting the time in. And I think that people don't always get it.
Oh, my mom
Hmm.
actually listened to the very first podcast with Rose, and she calls me, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm rooting for her. She's gonna do incredible." And she was like, "Stephanie, I didn't realize like how hard this
Oh,
is on people." And she goes, "We've got to change
I
something.
love
We got to
that.
do something about this." And I'm like, "I agree. I agree." Because she was like, I'm a first gen, and so like for my
I
mom,
know
like
that's
now
right,
she's
Mom.
she's going to
I
college. She's going to
love
get her
it.
bachelor's this
It is
this
never
year
too
actually.
late. It's never too late. Yes.
Yes,
That is
she is so.
amazing.
But she was like, yeah, I love her. She's great. She and I are like twin flames. But she was just like, now I get it. I didn't know how to be there. And like the thing that my mom did during this process, because like I said, we're very, very close. She was like, I'm gonna leave you alone. I know I like to come up and see you. I know I want to like hang out and stuff, but I know that you need to prioritize studying. So, she did an excellent job. And sometimes that's even hard for parents to understand that like this is a hard time. I'm not trying to be snappy. I'm not trying to be like,
Hmm.
you know, frustrated you or like be really short with phone calls. It's just that like
Yeah.
if kind of like what you mentioned when you're in the zone and you're finally locked in or something's clicking, you don't want to take a minute. You're like,
Hmm.
I got it. It's finally working, guys. Like I need this to set. And something that like was really helpful and if someone's considering this
Same.
too is like I went to therapy every week. My therapist and we went through it, and she was even like, Stephanie, I
Hmm.
get it. You gotta like take a little walk or something. You cannot sit 12, 14 hours. That's not healthy.
Yeah, yeah, same. I was in therapy every week as well, and my therapist. But we also got like our school had like we got like free tutors from, I don't know if I can say Ameribar. Yeah, Ameribar gave us had like some type of thing with our
Oh,
school where we get a free tutor, and my tutor was like my second therapist. She would be like, I can't be the only person that you talk to this week. You need to go outside and you need to let me know when we meet next that you went outside and you were walking around. And then that's when I started going to campus and doing, a lot of my studying, because I'd be like, okay, I need to be like around other people. Like I can't just be a daggone shut in with my
yeah.
poster boards around, feeling like I'm losing my mind. Like I had
Oh,
to like be around people and stuff. And I think it's like, I think therapy is important for everyone. I think everybody should be in therapy. But having my therapist know that I was going through this process and being able to just like support me and motivate me and be a little, hard on me when I needed to be, when she needed to be, was amazing and was helpful. And I like to think of it like when I started this process, I
hmm.
built a team around me, and that team was like my therapist, my tutor, our bar success office director,
Hmm.
who was like amazing at my
Hmm.
school and would be like, oh, so funny thing about that, remember when
Hmm.
we took the simulation, the simulated test? And yes, so and you and I got the same score. And I remember you were
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like down and out. You were like, by the way, our score was like a normal whatever score. You were like, oh my God, like what am I gonna, and I remember going to my bar success office and being like, oh, this was my score. And she was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're doing great. You're fine. You are in a great place. Like you'll be great. It's gonna be this is so you're in a good place. And I messaged you afterwards. I was like, girl, I just met with my bar success office. She said that this is fine. Like I'm in a good place. And you're like, okay. You're like, okay, thanks. You're like, okay, thanks. So like having like your team, like build a team. Think of it as like I am training for a
Yeah.
race or something like that. You
Yeah.
need or training for the Olympics or whatever. Like you need to have a team. You need to have a I don't know anything about sports. I don't know like you have someone who's giving you
Yeah.
massages and someone who's making sure you're running and someone who's a nutritionist. And you have all these different things that's going to help you. And I think that you have to figure out like what does my team look like, and
Yeah.
a lot of times the resources are around you. Like our school had so many free resources, and I
Yeah.
don't think people even like always knew that there were resources. There were people that resources. There were people who would reach out to
Really?
like you. All these things were available, and it's like
Yeah.
build your team because you are going to need it during that time, and make sure you have that one friend. Like I had my one friend who was,
Hmm.
she was like not playing, and she'd be like, "No, girl, get your stuff." She's like, "I hear you still typing. Put your stuff in the bag. Call the Uber, and I'm going to hold on the phone with you until you get in the house." And she would get me together every time, and I needed that. And having my friend who was taking the test who could be
Yeah.
like, this is what you need to do. I mean, he was even down to being
Yeah.
like, you're going to need to practice how to put earplugs in before you take the test, because if you want to use them, you don't want that to be the day you're learning how to use them and they're not working. And he's like, these are
Yeah.
small things that you need to like figure out. What are you going to eat that day? What are you going to do? Like all these things that he was just like, I can tell you exactly
Yeah.
what it is because he just took it and did really well
Yeah.
on it, and was like, oh, this is what you need to just like build your team around you who's going to help you win the Olympic
Hmm.
win the gold. Who's going to help you win the goal?
Yeah.
You need a team
Yeah.
around you, and the TikTok group was part of the team.
Yeah.
The TikTok group. It really was.
Yeah. No, and like you mentioned, like
Hmm.
I was so upset when I took my like midterm and I wanted like I put all my scores out there mostly
Yeah.
because I'm like I want someone who doesn't know or is like upset or going through it to know like hey, like
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't score well. And that didn't feel amazing and that was in the beginning and stuff, but like the
Yeah.
fact that you took your time, you asked about it and then went and told me, like, and knowing
Oh,
that I was kind of spiraling and stuff meant so much, you know? And it's those little things that really just help people. And then I was like, well,
yeah.
great. Like, yeah, like this isn't my actual exam. This is showing me
Yeah.
where I'm at. And I gotta tweak some things and I move forward, you know? And so it's really great because I love that your school
Yes.
provided so many like
I
free
don't. I once a
tutors.
week, and we would go over my essays. We would go over questions. Like it was really helpful. They had grants. They gave like, look, I'm not telling y'all what school to go to.
Wow.
Go to whatever school you want to go to. And I'm not saying that my school is perfect in every way. I will say this though. The bar
Yeah.
success program was very instrumental to me. And it was like there were so many things that the school had available. Like I remember talking to one girl that I knew who was taking it. And like I said, I didn't know a lot of people, but she was like really kind of spiraling. Was like, I'm feeling I'm not getting it, and it was getting close to the exam. And I was like, girl, you need to call the office and get on a Zoom, or either go into the. I would go into the office and sit
Hmm.
there and be like just talking, and she would, and,
Hmm.
the person would give me. The director would give me like feedback and stuff. I was like, you need to
Yeah.
like call them. Like they will walk through everything with you and be like, this is what you need to specifically do to do better on
Yeah.
this. And it was just, I don't know if every school has that, but like our school did, and I'm very grateful that it did. So it's like,
Yeah.
figure out what the resources are. Maybe your school doesn't have that office, but they want you to pass. The school benefits from you passing. So if you're having trouble, it looks good. Yeah, if you're having trouble, actually not if you're
Yeah.
having
It
trouble.
looks good
When
for
you
them.
first
Yeah.
start, go to your dean's office or something and be like, look, I'm about to take this test. I need support. What support is available? And if they
Yeah.
don't have a formal program, maybe they'll start a formal program because
Yeah.
it's important to have. Law school is in law school is important. It's you go through the whole 3 4 years. I feel like the bar is another whole process. It almost feels like,
Yeah.
okay, I did law school, I did that, and now the bar is another whole. You have to do that. Like
Hmm.
you needed to get barred. Like that was the whole point of it, was to get to this point. So it's like, yeah, if you're
Hmm.
considering law school, you need to think about how do you out support
Yeah.
students for the bar exam. And if they, give you some flim flam, shimmy shammy, ookie dookie
Yeah.
answers, and they're like, oh, no, okay, thank you. Like, you need to make sure that they're like, okay, this is specifically what we have available for students to ensure that they are going
Yeah.
to have success in the exam, or to help them, have success in the exam. It is extremely important in schools. I mean, all schools should have something like that, but they may not have a formal program, but they may still have a lot of resources, and just make sure you know what those resources are.
Yeah.
That's such a good point as you are considering law school. Or if you're in law school and you're like graduating in a year or a couple years,
Yeah.
ask right now, hey, I know this thing is coming up. What resources are available? Because I need
Yeah.
all of them. Give me all of them.
Our school hired a bar success person, and she had her office, but I remember this was the wildest thing to me. At first, I was going to take the bar in Texas, and she had a meeting where you would come in, and it was like on a random day. It was only that day, and only the students who showed up would be
Mm,
given the information. I'm like,
yeah.
why are we gatekeeping? If I'm busy or I can't come, I wasn't allowed
No,
to
no,
take
no, 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 no,
photos
no,
of her
no.
PowerPoint. I'm like, what
No,
is
they
going
need to
on?
have that
Yes, like it's
available.
ridiculous. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why am I having, and I was running late because I had class or something. I can't remember. But it was like, I can't get all this other information because I wasn't there the whole time. And I'm like, what? And then um I had a friend, she was really, really worried. She was crying. And so she's like, I have to work while studying for the bar. And she was like, oh, well, you're going to fail. You need to quit your job. And I'm like, and so she was crying and she was
Yeah.
telling us what happened. I pulled her aside. I was like, you went to law school. You worked while you were in law school. You are so smart. You're not going to allow someone to
Mm.
tell you what you are or are not capable of, you know? And
T.
she passed and she got an incredible score, right? And like was working during it and like period, right? And so I'm just like, I think that whenever they hire someone, it needs
Yes.
to be someone that is like, I believe in you. I want to give you the resources. I want, and kind of have that because you're already down
Exactly.
bad, you know?
Like what I was saying is like yeah, like I was saying, like your confidence is already so freaking low. A lot of the times, by the time you're about to graduate, you're just like you are just beaten down, and then you don't need somebody
Yeah.
telling you, like you need someone who's gonna be like, you got this. Like, girl, you're gonna do it. Like, you need somebody. And I'm not. And again, I'm gonna say I'm not saying my school's perfect, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I think that like that for
Yeah.
me, that program was so helpful, and I took advantage of everything. I would
Yeah.
come to every webinar. I would be sitting in our director's office all the time, and I would just be like, okay, I'm spending too much time on my MPTs. I'm over. Like, how do? And she'd be like, okay, do this specific thing, try this, and then email me and let me know if the specific thing worked. Like, she would literally be like that. Do this
Hmm.
today. Let me know if the specific thing worked. If it doesn't, we will figure out a different
Yeah.
thing, so that you will not be over on your MPTs, because you can't. She's like, it doesn't matter how much you know. If you don't get to this, you only do one and you
That's
don't get to the
beautiful.
second one, you don't get the point. So like, she's like, okay, do
Yeah.
this. Email me, let me know, and we. So it's like just like finding like who is that person. It might be
Yeah.
your bar office. It might be a dean. It might be a professor. Whoever. Like, find like somebody at that school needs to be helping you to get over the hump, and to be able to pass this test. Because
Hmm.
I think that you know
Yeah.
people, sometimes people take how many ever tries it takes to pass it, but like it is a passable test. It's just about knowing the resources that are available to like help you get there. And no school should
Yeah.
ever be telling somebody, oh, you're not going to pass it. That's crazy to me. That is
Yeah.
actually very wild.
And I'll give her some credit. Like they did offer a summer program that was free, and she would
Mm-hmm.
do, I think Wednesday or Tuesdays were MPT days, Wednesdays were MEE days, and then Thursdays were multiple choice. And so I didn't love my
Mm-hmm.
bar prep program when it came to MPTs and MEEs. I didn't do MEEs with her, but the MPTs I did do them, and she was helpful in that. She was just like, I don't know. I don't know if it was the right fit personality for this, but she was very much like, if you don't come, I'm not meeting you after hours. If you can't
I
make it,
hate
you're not
that.
getting this. It was very gatekeepy,
Yeah.
which I was just like, makes no sense to me because we want everyone to succeed. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And that was only offered in the summer. So, and I know that they just started this,
Yes,
but well, what about the
yes.
February takers? Like I deferred. I never heard from her after that. Like no one else, yeah, like really did, and it's just for this summer. And so I feel like also I love that you were a February taker, and like you mentioned, you didn't know a lot of people taking it, and so like having tutors or having a program or having someone
You know
available
what
that you
I
can
always
chat with.
find interesting? People who took it after they've graduated for some time. That right there deserves a round of applause because I just feel like I wouldn't even like know. I wouldn't even remember that I was in law school a year later.
Hmm.
Civil procedure. Who is she towards? I don't know her. Like I don't know what are you guys even talking about? Like so that pat yourself in the back, girl, because that is crazy right there. Like I graduated in December, and I was like, I had to. Some people were like, I'll take a couple weeks. No, I was like before finals even started, I was starting my bar prep process because I said I cannot stop because if I stop, I'm not. I probably won't even pick it back up. So I needed to just
Jeez.
like go
Yeah.
straight through it and just figure out how to do that. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. I don't
Hmm.
want to do it again. So, bar people, if y'all grading it and y'all listening to this, give me some extra points. Like, I do not want to take this thing again. Like, I was sitting there like,
Yeah.
I want to do one and done.
So I want to ask a little bit about your law school experience because you were working, right?
Yeah, I was working full time, and I wasn't like I was like working like a real real job, like real responsibilities and stuff, and like it was sometimes it would literally be like, well, that whole first year was like finishing work, getting on a bus, going to class, and being in
Hmm.
class until sometimes 9:30 that night, going home, going to bed, getting up, and doing it the next day, and doing that. Was it 4 out of the 5 days of the week? And then the weekends you're reading and you're studying. It just sometimes I don't know how I did it. It's a lot. I would say if someone doesn't have to work doing school, don't. But like
Yeah.
sometimes you have to. And my cohort was a very small cohort of students, like evening students
Yeah.
cohort. And we took most of our classes with, full-time students. And it's like, the thing is crazy. It's like we were being graded against us. But yeah, it's been like, you know, it was a
Yeah.
really taxing experience in a lot of ways because you're just like you're all over the place. You have this and you have this to do for work and then you have this assignment you need to work on and this and that and da, 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 da. And like I I think that there was times when I just felt like I was a chicken with my head cut off running around because it was so much planning that needed to be done and so much organizing.
Hmm.
And yeah, there were things that I was going through while I was in school that sometimes you just have to push to the side. So when as I was telling you, like this fall was like a
Yeah.
kind of emotionally tumultuous time for me. And it's like, it was kind of, I don't know, it was like the last semester, and it was
Yeah.
kind of indicative of the way that the entire process was. I remember my first semester, the end of the first semester, I had a funeral that I had to attend for my dad, he's gone. My dad's sister had passed away. And I remember leaving the funeral early because I had to go and study. 4 years later, my dad's brother passed away. He was very, very close to. And I got the call that he passed away. And I got that call the day before the MPRE. And I got that call and I had to go to the hospital where he was at, and we're like waiting for the funeral home to come. We're like sitting in, I've never experienced anything like that. We're sitting in like the cold room because they keep the rooms really cold. Someone passes away. We're like waiting in there in the cold room for the funeral home to get there. And they get there and they take his body out. And my aunt is just like, I mean, obviously, understandably, she's just falling apart. And then I go to her house and I'm at her house all night until her son gets there because he's flying in. And then I go home that night and I have the MPRE the next day. And I just say, all right, well, shut it off. shut it off. Got to shut this off because you have to go take NPRE the next day. And I get up and I take the NPRE the next day.
Yeah.
And then later,
Mm-hmm.
I have like my final, um, I have my final trial for like my trial advocacy class. The day before that, I'm at the funeral home picking out caskets. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go to the next day for the trial and I have to cut it off and I go and I do it and just cut it off and go do it. And then we do the internment because the internment's later. He was in military, so we have to do the internment. And I remember the day of the internment, it was a Tuesday, and it was that morning. And I went to the internment and we put him in the ground. And I
Mm-hmm.
go home and I open up my Themis and just do questions and doing studying. And I just had to shut it off. There was so much I just had to just shut off. And that's, I feel like throughout law school, that's been a lot of it. It's like you are going through this horrible thing in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to shut it
Mm-hmm.
off because you got an assignment due, or you got to study, or you have to do these things. And it's something where it's like
Mm-hmm.
there I don't know what the alternative is to that. You people can say like, "Oh, you have to take time for yourself," but it's like I don't sometimes you just don't
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't get to write on the bar, "Hey, I was going through a really hard time."
Yeah.
And so I may not do very well on this question. You don't get that. You just got to do it. So it was like
Yeah.
literally like I got home the day of the internment, put him in the ground, I take an
Yeah.
Uber, I get home, and I literally open up my laptop. I'm like, and I think I was on like wheels, and I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna do wheels today. I don't think I'm gonna do wheels today. Let's do another topic. And I do another topic, and I just do the topic. Yeah, just do it. And just shut it
Yeah.
off. Just
Let's pick something
you
else.
it there
Yeah.
was a lot of that. People say compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
You just shut it off.
Yeah.
You had a stressful day at work, whatever.
Yeah.
Shut it off. You got to go to class. No one cares. Go to class. And it's like really sad when you really think about it. Like really just,
Yeah.
like sometimes I always think about it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
left a funeral early to go and study because I had finals. That is crazy to me. That is really crazy when you say it. But
Yeah.
it's like my professor doesn't. The professor's not going to be like
Yeah.
everybody has stuff going on. Everybody has stuff going
Yeah.
on. Yeah, it's wild when you really think about it.
Yeah.
I think part of that is like when I talk about, earlier we talk about it kind of jokingly of how you just become so broken down by the process. I think that is a part of it. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
things that made you, or the things that the parts of you that were soft become like hardened in some ways because it really is kind of a culture of nobody cares. I have this thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. Just do it. And that's not to say that if you were to go to, just your school and say, "Hey, I have a this hard time
Right.
in my life," that your school would say that. It's not about that. It's just law school and law is a culture of just do it. Stop whining. Nobody cares. Just do it. And it starts to like break you
Mm-hmm.
down. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about like the job search process when I was looking for summer jobs, and oh my gosh, when I even think back to that time, I would be like, just someone would say,
Yeah.
"How's the process going?" And I would burst into tears. I was crying all the time. I would go to my job, our career center appointments. That lady
Yeah.
probably retired after me. My job counselor. She probably said, "I'm not doing this. Let me get my papers. I'm not doing." I would be in there sobbing, like, 'cause you're getting rejections. And it's like, and you think you're like, I'm a smart person. I'm a person who's always been able to do it. And then you're getting rejections from jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, and of course I got a job eventually, but it
Yeah.
breaks you down so much.
Yeah.
And I wish that it wasn't that. Like you were saying, your mom was saying, I wish that it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that. I wish that it didn't have to be a process where it
Mm-hmm.
has to break you down to the point where you're like, you just don't even like, you become so insecure. You don't believe in
Yeah.
yourself. And then you have to take this big test at the end. And then that's chipping away. Let me say this, Stephanie. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
really do wonder about myself if I
Yeah.
do not pass. when scores come out. Check on me. I
Mhm.
do wonder about it. I wonder.
Like with everything you've done, though, we're gonna push it aside and do it again. Like, I think you're gonna pass. I believe in
Yeah.
you. You're so smart. But like you said, it doesn't test whether you're
hmm
smart or not.
Sometimes it can even just be who's the faster writer. You know what I mean? You can know it, but if you don't write it down, they don't care
Yeah.
that you knew it.
Yeah.
So,
What advice would you give someone who is currently
you
studying
have to
for a bar
find
exam?
moments of peace during the process. And I don't think I was great at doing that. So, learn from my mistakes. But I think you have to find whatever peace is going to look like for you during that process. And it might be making sure that you are cooking for yourself or making sure that you're, working out and making sure that you are going for walks or just not allowing anyone to really permeate that peace. Because one thing that you're going to become very good at is saying, no, I can't do that. And if you're not good at it, you're going to become good at it. You know, you're going to
Hmm.
have to become good at, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And not like in a mean way, but this is a very important thing that I'm working on right now. So I would say that is one piece of advice. And then the second piece of advice is to get the Jonathan Grossman video. I'm like, Jonathan Grossman, what
Yeah.
is the Oprah meme? He is the friend, the mother I never had, the friend everyone would want. I do not know a better person. Jonathan Grossman. No, I think I'm being completely serious. I said, get a supplement. Don't only rely on Themis or Barbary if you feel like you need more. Like if you feel like you're not
Yeah.
getting it, don't just keep going through each lesson not getting it. You got to figure out what else do I need. And I
Yeah.
would say get a supplement. That is my recommendation for a supplement. It might be something else, but see what supplement you can get. Talk to the people who have taken the test in the past. I had
Hmm.
a girl who graduated last year. It was in like our Black Law Students Association. She sent a whole email full of resources, tons of
Hmm.
resources. She was so helpful. Like I've had people who graduated in the past, they've been so helpful. They've been like,
Yeah.
this is what I did. This is what I was, they'll tell you this is what I got on my simulated scores. That by the way, that's helpful. Like this is what I got on my simulation. People who've passed who can tell you what they've got on this, so it help you to kind of understand like where you need
Hmm.
to be. Do not go through, my biggest piece of advice is do not go through this thing alone. You need to figure out where you can find your community, where you can find resources. There are so many people out
Yeah.
there, and you do what you need to do to be able to figure out how to make this stuff make sense. I literally wrote a short play for property to understand ownership. And no, you can't see it because I deleted it afterwards. I wrote, the father said, the
Aw.
father was like, hi, daughter, I really want to give you this apartment, but it's under contingency. To make me understand, I wrote a little short play about this to understand the fee simple absolutes and subject to go whatever the things to really life estates to understand all that. I wrote a little short play with the father and the daughter. It was a whole drama, but you got to do what you got
Hmm.
to do to be able to make this stuff stick and whatever it is. If you have to have paper on the walls, if you do this TikTok thing, I don't think anybody
Yeah.
was really doing this before you did this, Stephanie. I haven't heard anybody who said that people do this in the past. So like that was you. You said,
Hmm.
okay, well, I'm about to go on TikTok and see if we can find a community here to just go through these questions. Like, do what you got to do to pass
Yeah.
this. If you need to figure it out, you need to, you know, sing songs to yourself and
Yeah.
record them and listen to them so that you can understand the rules of evidence. Then you do that. Like you do what you need to do. This thing is super important. Do not just let it be something that you say, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm not a good test taker. I can't do it. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, I know that your self confidence is going to be down. It is down, graduating, your self confidence is not
Mm-mm.
really there. But, like, you got to figure out some way to get through it because it is a super important thing. And you have to make sure that you are positioning yourself to be in the best possible position. So, whether you pass or not, at least you can go into the test. You can walk out saying, I put everything into it. You never want the reason why you didn't pass to be because you didn't put everything into it. At least you can say, I put everything into it.
Yeah.
And then you go from there. I mean, that's me saying it. I still want to pass. You do want to you put everything
Yeah.
put everything into it and figure out what everything into it
Yeah.
looks like for you.
Yeah.
What adjustments you need to make, you know, do all that.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Stephanie is literally here. She is a
Hmm.
TikToker. She's an influencer. Talk to her. Reach out. Literally, like, you know, send some merch. Go to her. What is it?
Send
What
me
I was
free
gonna say? What's your
merch.
Amazon wish list? Go to her
Check my
Amazon wish
Amazon
list.
link.
Hey, girl, I just got you your. By the way, everything is all
My
pink.
link tree.
Listen, I need y'all to just go to, even if you're not gonna buy anything on it, just go to it and look at it. It's all pink. And maybe in the moment you might be like, you know what? Let me get her. Let me get her this little pink
It's
pen
so
set.
unhinged.
This little pink little waffle maker or what. I don't even know what this is, but like, you know what I mean? Like it is so funny to me. I didn't even know what you were talking about. You would be like, go to my link. I didn't even. I was like, what is she talking about? I had no clue what you were talking about. Go to my link. I was like, what is she talking about? And then I like one day I went to, I'm like, oh, so she has like the Amazon thing and stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna get you some. I'll get you something from the wish list. It's not gonna be one of the most expensive things, but I'll get you something from the wish list.
I had my friend open it and she died laughing.
Look, if you don't ask, you're not gonna get it. If you don't ask, you're not gonna get it. You never know. You might have a rich benefactor watching all your videos who says, you know what, I'm gonna give Stephanie the entire list. You never know. You never know. Who knew that we would find someone to match our freak during the
Yeah.
bar exam process and on TikTok nonetheless? Who knew? Who knew? No, this is great. And again, thanks for everything you've done. You've done so much to just build community, with
Yeah.
the bar takers, and I hope for July that you'll continue to, help people along and give advice and all that stuff and like whatever you need from us, I'm sure like all the people in the group will like come and help and support and all of that. You got it, girl. You're inspiring me.
You inspired me. You're doing amazing. I can't wait to see what plays you write. I'm going to be looking out for
Oh
those
my
too.
gosh.
I want to see
It's
that
still
artist
in
come
there.
back.
All right, girl. This has been so much fun. Thank you for having.
Thank you for coming on here. This was so fun. You're going to be an incredible
Thank you.
attorney. You're
Thank
going to
you.
do
And you as
amazing
well.
things. I cannot wait to see what you do next. That's it for today's episode. Again, I'm Stephanie Ponzanelli, and this is Legally Ponzanelli. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. A special thank you to our sponsor, Belmonte, a brand rooted in the reminder to stay still, grounded, and present, even in the middle of big goals and busy seasons. If you enjoyed this episode, love for you to share it and post it on social media. It truly helps the show grow. And if you're not already following along, you can find us on TikTok at Legally Ponzanelli and Instagram at Legally Ponzanelli Podcast, which is also located in the link in the show notes. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions for future guests, email me at legallyponzanelli@gmail.com. And if you're a law graduate who wants to share your story, I would love to hear from you. For sponsorship inquiries or ways to support the show, feel free to reach out at the same email. Bye!